What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with the distance. I have a mailbag question for today. From West Coast 91491. This question was, what are your three top favorite fights of all time? Well, honestly, these are really hard to narrow down for me because there's a lot of fights that I enjoy watching. So I'm gonna give you at least probably 4 or 5. Just because it is hard to narrow it down just to 3. But anyway, and they're in no specific order. So anyway, one of them would be Zuma Nelson versus Salvador Sanchez. That's a really good fight, very good technical fight. Honestly, this matchup, you're putting together a young champion who is establishing himself, and a young fighter who is not yet established. And hell, Zuma Nelson was unknown at that time. Zuma Nelson, I think Zuma Nelson went on to become a really good champion. So Zuma Nelson was probably one of Sanchez's best victories, but overall, it was a very good bout. You got some exchanges, you got a lot of just smart tactics in this fight. I believe it ended in like a knockout. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I watched that fight, but I think he knocked him out, or it was a TKO. But it was a really good matchup. Sanchez versus Nelson. It's kind of a lost classic. A lot of people have not seen it. It is here on YouTube, so I suggest that every boxing fan checks out this matchup: Salvador Sanchez versus Zuma Nelson. Very textbook battle. Zuma Nelson went on to become a really good champion. So that was a really good matchup. And then another matchup, Chris Eubank versus Nigel Benn, the first one. That was a good matchup because Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, it seemed like they just didn't like each other. Both fighters from Europe, or Britain, I think. They're from like Great Britain, I believe, something like that. But anyway, it was a really good matchup because both fighters fought with different styles. And this one match, they had to kind of change up their styles just for this one matchup. Chris Eubank was the type of fighter who stayed on the outside, while Nigel Benn was a fighter who liked to fight, on the inside. Was the bigger puncher, and Chris Eubank had to fight out of his comfort zone for this one fight. He wasn't. It seemed the whole fight that Eubank was just tense, and he was tense. He had to come in, but he was tense. Sorry about that. That was my dog outside. But he was tense. He had to kind of come out of his comfort zone. And damn dog made me lose my thought. Wow, I sound like a real Texan there. But it was just in this one matchup, I just think that Eubank had to kind of change it up and fight a different fight. And Nigel Benn was starting to cut off the ring. He was cutting off the ring, and he was landing some big shots. And I think that the fight would have went on. Nigel Benn would have won, but it ended in a real dramatic knockout. I think Nigel Benn's left eye was swollen, and it was swollen shut, and he couldn't see a lot of shots coming. He only had one eye. But either way, I thought if the matchup would have went the distance, I thought that Nigel Benn could have won. I thought the rounds were so close that you just didn't know who was gonna win. But and it was the same with the rematch. But Nigel Benn versus Chris Eubank, that's another one. Another one that will always stand out: The War. Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Thomas the Hitman Hearns. This was a really good matchup. This was a great. This was the actual war. This was a battle. This reminds me of something that because me, I read a lot about history. This reminds me of just like the battles in a lot of these wars from other countries. Because how it is, you have the former champion in another division and a man who's holding the belt, in the big division, and the little guy is kind of moving up, or the big tall little guy is moving up, and he's fighting this fight with the top established guy, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Wow, when you watch the fight, you just think that Hagler's gonna go down if you see the fight and not know what happens. But Hagler was standing there taking Hearn's best shots. Hearns was taking Hagler's best shots for a while. They just went to the middle of the ring and just started hitting each other. That's pretty much what they did. They just went to the middle of the ring and they just started hitting each other, and just battled it out. Because you weren't really expecting a matchup like that to take place. Hearns was I think that Hearns could have won the matchup, but if he would have boxed against Hagler, but Hagler went in, and got the kill in the third round, and the rest is history. This was This is another one of my favorite matchups, and another matchup every boxing fan should watch is Hagler versus Hearns. Very classic matchup. But if I had to choose an all-time favorite matchup, it has to be Muhammad Ali versus Smoking Joe Frazier 1. That has to be my all-time favorite matchup, because it's a very historic matchup. Champion versus champion. The man that didn't lose his belt, the man that holds the belt, that the man that didn't lose. So it has a big story to it, and the story to the fight is what's so magical about this fight. It's just that story that leading up to it, and it was just one of and this is a prime Ali as well. I take it back. It is kind of a prime Ali, but this is kind of like the classic Ali. This is the Ali that everybody remembers, because if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for Joe Frazier, what would we think of Muhammad Ali? Right now, Muhammad Ali needed Joe Frazier as much as Joe Frazier needed Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, this matchup was just pure. It was just everything in this matchup. It was heart, boxing ability, skill, power, just so many different things that were determining factors in this matchup. The knockdown at the end of I believe at the end of the fight, the knockdown, was very classic, very nostalgic. Just overall, this was a classic matchup, very classic matchup. This is the matchup that catapulted, both fighters to that all-time great status. It's just that good of a fight. It's just a match that will always, be one of my favorites, and it doesn't, it's not even a letdown or anything. It's sometimes it gets better every time I watch it. It's that kind of match. But I love this fight. I love watching this fight. Both fighters, left it all in the ring, and and I don't think they like each other to this day. But in this matchup, wow, it was a hectic matchup. Just a straight up, just punches thrown, stuff like that. And second to that is probably the third matchup, the Thriller in Manila. That was another good one. But anyway, those are my favorite matchups. I think I gave you 4. But anyway, feel free to send me a mailbag question anytime, and I will answer it on video. But anyway, that was Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.